Hello, everyone. It's me, the commissioner of the greatest fantasy football league of all time, Bad Company. That's right, it's me, Nick. Welcome back. Thanks for watching. We got a great list for you here today. I started this way back when quarantine started. It took me a long time to do. I apologize for that. But today we are going to rank all 20 general managers in Bad Company's history from worst to first. Let's get started. Number 20, Trent. Trent's blink and you miss it tenure in Bad Company began in 2015 as the league underwent its initial expansion to 12 teams. As a GM, Trent was a disaster from the start as he lost access to his account before the draft even started and was never really able to recover it. He lost his first 2 games without making any roster changes, and the league decided to find a replacement mid-season. His 0-2 record all-time obviously ranks dead last amongst all GMs. Number 19, Kevin. Kevin's Grand Island Vikings played in the inaugural season of Bad Company back in 2014. He started off going 0-6 before winning back-to-back games against myself, and then lost the next 5 games to close the season. Kevin was the pioneer for bad teams in this league, going just 2-11, just a 1.54 win percentage, paving the road for future bad teams for years. This poor performance led to him getting the boot after just 1 season. Number 18, Jerry. Everybody's favorite, Jerry, joined the league in 2018 as a relocation team. Despite owning the first overall pick in the draft, Jerry would flounder in year 1 and having one of the worst regular season performances, going just 2-11. On top of that, he never ranked inside the top 9 in the power rankings, and even became unranked at one point. Jerry showed improvement in year 2, more than doubling his win total. However, in an attempt to go all in, Jerry traded away his future 3rd, 5th, and 8th round picks for some mediocre at best players in an attempt to make the playoffs. This failed, obviously. Jerry owns a 7-19 record all time with 0 playoff berths. Another bad season could find himself even further down the list. Number 17, Mike. Mike was another expansion team in 2015 and made an immediate impact in the draft. His team, Doc Wing, famously took the Seattle Seahawks defense in the 2nd round and the Bills defense in the 5th round. Not to mention, he selected Drew Brees 3rd overall, only to bench him Week 8 against the Giants, where he would throw for over 500 yards and 7 touchdowns. Winger, not surprisingly, missed the playoffs, going 5-9 in his only season. He was removed as GM for not paying enough attention to his lineup. Number 16, Lance. Lance is one of our latest expansion teams to join this past season. In his first year, he didn't have much success, as my Mahomes went just 3-10. He began the year as a gritty team, but eventually faced some bad luck as Pat Mahomes battled some injuries and didn't perform up to his MVP caliber of play. Like his team name said, maybe next year, we could see a more competitive team as they hit the reset button and try to get back into the playoffs. Number 15, Jack. Jack was another member of the inaugural season back in 2014. He only lasted 1 season, going 4-9 and missing the playoffs. He boasted about wanting to take Peyton Manning in the 1st round, but actually wisely waited to scoop him up in the 2nd. Jack wasn't the greatest at keeping up with his roster, but he did his due diligence. Jack and the league agreed to mutually part ways as the league wanted to make sure everyone in the league was taking it seriously. In hindsight, Jack was a better GM than both Mike and Trent, who would go on to replace him. Number 14, Andrew. Andrew took over control of Trent's team in 2015 and targeted me right away. He changed his team name to Nick's Very Small and turned the season right around. He went 8-4 to close his first season and led them to the playoffs. Over the next 2 years, Andrew failed to have as much success. In his first draft, he proved he was willing to make outlandish picks at any moment. He also claimed to have the best team as a result of this, like another GM we all know. Hint, hint. Andrew failed to make the playoffs over the next 2 seasons with If I Beat You Be Embarrassed and Fig Newton, and was booted from the league. In just 3 seasons, Andrew would go 16-23, good for a 4.10 win percentage. Number 13, Josh. Josh was another member of the inaugural season and played 3 seasons in the league. He ran a polarizing Florida Gators and Team Eat Some franchise all 3 years. In his 3 seasons, he had a decent 18-23 record with 2 playoff berths. In his first season, he went 9-4, only to follow with a 2-12 season, which was the worst regular season record for 4 years. He returned for a final season going 7-7, but his difficulty to reach in Florida and his unwillingness to check his lineup and listen to trades made him fall out of favor within the league. Number 12, Frank. Frank was our last new expansion team this past year. While his record is similar to others further down the list and isn't all that willing to make trades, he is very attentive to his roster. He went 5-8 in his first year and really overachieved his preseason projections. He had to take Melvin Gordon first overall, although his holdout hurt when legends rise. He didn't have a lot of options though, with most teams locking up 2 keepers. Similar to Lance, he has the ability to reset his roster and get back in the playoff race this coming year. Number 11, Matt. Matt, aka Sofa King, was also a part of the inaugural season. He lasted 2 years in the league and surprisingly built a strong resume. In his first year, Matt won his division going 10-3. He followed this with a mediocre 6-8 record in year 2. However, his all-time record of 16-11 is good for a .593 win percentage. This is the 5th highest win percentage amongst teams all time, higher than the likes of Dan, Brophy, and even Hunter. Matt's downfall was similar to others as he was never fully engaged and refused to make trades. Number 10, Beans. Beans has reached the highest of highs and the lowest of lows in bad company. A member for all 6 years in the league, Beans has accumulated a record of 31-49. That's the most losses by any team in history, along with 3 playoff berths. He's never won a division title, but he's always floated under the radar as a sleeper. Evidence of this can be found in 2016 when he snuck into the playoffs as the last seed and rode Le'Veon Bell's hot streak into a championship over the then undefeated Swim Shady. He's one of only 4 members of the league to win a championship. He also holds the worst regular season record of all time, going 0-13 this past year. It remains to be seen how Beans can translate all his high picks this year into a winner, but his contributions to the league can never be denied. Number 9, Jaime. Jaime was a GM in bad company for 3 years, from 2015 to 2017, under the names the New England Patriots and Brady's a Lady. In his 3 years, Jaime made 2 playoff berths, going 19-22 all time. I don't think Jaime ever got the appreciation from the league that he should have. He was a consistent member, always in the hunt, and would be open to making trades as well. Jaime is the only member of the league to willingly step down as GM, as he decided to turn his attention to med school. Number 8, Luke. Since joining the league in 2018, Luke has flown under the radar compared to other GMs. In 2 seasons, King of the Hill has quietly made 2 playoff appearances. He owns a 13-13 record all time, and from this point forward, I will refer to him as Mr. 500. His 500 win percentage ranks him 8th all time. 7th all time. Let's see if Mr. 500 can take the next step this year. He has a nice keeper in Tyreek Hill and Derrick Henry, and a decent middle-of-the-pack draft spot to build a decent roster this coming season. Number 7, Brophy. Brophy joined the league in 2017 as a relocation team. In 3 seasons, Big Ditka, the Fake News Bears, and Poppy's prized possession has a record of 19-20 with 2 playoff appearances. In 2018, Brophy put together his best team, going 8-5 and making it all the way to the conference championship. He had the longest winning streak that year and was clearly one of the top 4 teams in the league. Brophy's willingness to make moves, either buying or selling, has made him a fond trade partner as well. This is an important offseason for Brophy as he looks to return to a contender. Number 6, Dan. Dan. Every year's preseason favorite, but this year's reigning and defending champion. I'm sure some folks in the league would have you more toward the bottom of this list, but I have to give credit where credit is due. Dan joined the league in our 2nd season and has been in it ever since. Dan has also experienced some ups and downs, from the Alabama Crimson Tide to the injury report, and finally Team Never Lucky. In 5 seasons, Dan has gone just 30-37, which is just a .448 win percentage, and only accumulated 2 playoff appearances. Last year was the first year he made the playoffs in 3 years. That is the longest playoff drought in our league's illustrious history. But that speaks to me because even though he had been bad, he was just good enough for us to keep him around. However, he made the most of it, going all the way and winning his first championship. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more trash talk from Dan this year, but just remember, Dan is not a top 5 general manager of all time. Number 5, Hunter. Hunter is the next member of the list who has been in the league for all 6 years. Unfortunately, Hunter has had the least amount of success amongst the original 6. Among them, he's the only one never to win a conference championship and make it to the championship. However, this franchise, with a list of names too long to mention, has many other accomplishments to mention. In 6 years, Hunter has made the playoffs 5 times, which is the second most all time, and just one division title. His 11-2 record this past year helped him finally climb over 500 to a record of 43-37 all time. 11-2 was also the second best regular season record of all time. With a couple good keepers this year, I expect to see Hunter near the top again this coming season. But will he ever get to the championship? Better start searching for trade partners now. Number 4, Brad. Brad is also an original 6 member and has a pretty good resume to his name as well. He is tied for the 3rd highest win percentage all time at 600, 4 playoff berths, 2 division titles, and 1 conference championship. With an overall record of 48-32, Brad has done it all except win the big one. However, it's been 5 years since Brad made it to the championship in 2015. Although he went 10-3 just a year ago, Brad needs to buckle down and really put the work in, otherwise he might drop a couple spots in this list. Maybe a return to the Kentucky Wildcats branding is what this franchise needs this year in order to return to greatness. Number 3, Ryan. Ryan is another original 6 member of Bad Company, and he was the inaugural champion. You can't take that away from him. The following year, he attempted to tank and undergo a rebuild. Unfortunately, he's been unable to regain the championship since then. For the past several years now, people have debated if the tank worked. Some might argue, yeah, you tanked and went 15-1 the next year, but what have you done since then? Others might say, no, the tank was a failure and I was against it from the beginning, and we should have re-signed Vanek, Pominville, and Miller to long extensions. Wait, I think I'm getting my stories mixed up. But in all honesty, Ryan has run a very successful franchise the past 6 years, going 48-32 all time, with 4 playoff berths, 2 division titles, 2 conference championships, and 1 championship. Number 2, Oliver. Oliver comes in at number 2 as he knows all about coming in second. Oliver has come in second place 3 times in Bad Company, including back-to-back years in 2017 and 2018. At one point, they even changed the international choking logo to a picture of him. Despite this, Oliver has been the most consistent member of Bad Company from the start. In 6 years, Oliver has made the playoffs all 6 years. Nobody else has done that. I tried to do the probability calculations for that. There's just over a 3% probability of that occurring. That's incredible, Oliver. Great work. He's like the San Antonio Spurs. He makes the playoffs every year. However, he's won the division and conference 3 times each as well. That's pretty good too. From corn on the cob to RIP Harambe, Oliver sports a 49-31 regular season record all time, which is the second best all time. Oliver is an interesting position going forward though, as he has some aging stars in Todd Gurley, and we'll see what happens. He's a great GM, but can he steer this ship onward and upward? We're going to have to wait and see. And number 1, Nick, myself. Are you surprised? Obviously, I've been the greatest GM in Bad Company's history. There's just no debate. In 6 years, I have more wins than anyone else in the league. While I may not be the most consistent GM, I'm 50-30 overall with 4 playoff appearances, 4 division titles, 4 conference championships, and 3 championships. That's as many championships as the rest of the other champions combined. Before losing in the championship to Dan this year, I had never even lost a playoff game. With 2 good keepers again this year, it's looking like another strong year is on the horizon for the greatest general manager in Bad Company's history. And that's our list. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you made it through the whole thing. Apologize for getting out so late, but hey, everyone stay safe out there, and I hope everyone is praying that football is back this year and we can have a 7th season of Bad Company. Everyone, have a great day.